Welcome to the American Red Devils podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we're bringing you the best Manchester United news from this side of the pond.
Woo, sir. How we doing? It is international break. We haven't talked about Manchester United, at least in the Premier League, it feels like, in a hot minute. We had the Queen, and we missed 2 game weeks, and now obviously we have international break. The last tune-up.
We had Sheriff.
Last tune-up. I was talking about the Premier League. The last tune-up. You're already ready. He's back. This guy's back in the pod room. It's hot already. He's already ready to interrupt me. I'm not even in my opening tangent. This guy's like, on my
Sharif.
back. Sharif. We talked about. Yeah, I'm still gonna call him Sharif. And here we are, sir. We haven't had football to talk about, at least in the league, in a while. I'm excited, but right now we're talking about international break. Welcome back. This guy's back from HI. How you doing?
I coordinate all my vacations with the international break, so I don't miss a match of Manchester United. Just kidding. I am back in the bunker. Happy to be here. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot of Manchester United news to talk about. It is international break, so we do have UEFA Nations League, whatever that is. I tried to read up on Wikipedia. It is very confusing how that works. But there are a bunch of big teams in Europe. We have a lot of players there. There's also the U.S. men's national team. We have a little U.S. men's national team takeover segment. This is the last tune-up for all these countries in the world before the big World Cup. 59 days kicks off World Cup. We've been dying for it. We've been waiting for it. We had to wait an extra 6 months for it because of the Winter World Cup. But it is going to be an event. Obviously, wish it wasn't in Qatar, but that's the way it is. That's the corrupt FIFA machine. That's where it will be. It's going to impact global football on a scale we've never seen before. Manchester United stopping for 5 weeks, 6 weeks in the middle of a season. How is that going to impact the title race in the Premier League? We've had more fixtures canceled because of the Queen. It feels like we're going to have a month without anything going on other than that Sheriff match. And then, boom, there's going to be like 3 matches a week for the rest of the season. I really think we're getting to the point where it's almost Looney Tunes with the Winter World Cup, canceling games for the Queen, the COVID fixture congestion. The players have been 3 years running straight. And this summer will be a well-deserved break because you have to remember we had the Euros as well. It's insanity how many games these players play. And I'm not crazy pro player. They are getting paid a lot of money, but it is kind of, the frequency is alarming. I've never seen it.
No, this is a good thing to talk about, an international break, but they just never seem to slow down the rate of increased games, right? Because the Champions League is now adding more games. The fact that they're doing replays and they care about Cup or multiple leg fixtures is absolutely absurd, given how many matches there have been. Champions League, more Europa League ties, right? There's obviously Europa League Conference League, which is for someone that you don't even make it in the Europa League. But it's eventually come to a point where, the players can't do it anymore. You're going to just have so many injuries that they're going to have to make some kind of considerations outside. But, the money machine don't stop. We both work in finance. You know how that works. Like, they're always going to look for more cash if they can. That Northwest or that North versus South All-Star game, it could make big money. So that would be the reason they eventually do it, right?
Sir, as an American, I love an all-star game. Maybe not the all-star game. It's those tricky competitions they have, like
skills.
Who's the fastest, who can kick the longest free kick, or maybe they have like a robot goalie, something like stupid like that. That would be a lot of fun for fans to take in. But the way things are going now, there is no time for an all-star game. There's no time for a break. It is going to be absolutely insanity for Manchester United here on out, and, sir, this podcast. But the pod never sleeps. We will be here watching it all, the ups and downs and everything. And right now, I have like a weird feeling in my gut. We were playing so well, and then all of a sudden, it's exactly what happened when the pandemic hit. It was like Manchester United, mojo, we're playing well, COVID hit. Then it's like Manchester United playing well, Erik ten Hag getting some momentum, Queen passes away. It's so cruel, the footballing gods.
And like you said, this is going to be a tale of 2 seasons because there's going to be the pre-World Cup and post-World Cup. Right now we have 9 games, including Europa League, in November, and then we have an additional 4 games before they leave, I think on the 12th to head, or 10th maybe even, to head with their national teams in advance of the World Cup in November. So it's just going to be a gauntlet, a marathon of games. And like you said, it's like we came in to whatever this break now is, the Queen/international break that turned out to be
Her Majesty's break.
Her Majesty's break. 3 weeks without football, effectively, at least in the league. that momentum could be an issue because we were ripping and rolling, and all of a sudden we're going to play the best team in the league, one of the best teams in the world in City with Freak Show Holland, just nut buster. Bro.
Boy, were we right about Holland.
We were really right.
Boy, I'll tell you what cursed Holland is. I picked him up on my FIFA Ultimate Team. We were rumored to get him from RB, and I picked him up.
Oh, you shame on you.
Because I was like, oh, we're going to sign him, so I'm going to put him on my Ultimate Team. And then, it all fell apart from there. And now he's wearing that powdered blue and dunking him in like Dunkaroos, sir. We're in for the long haul. But quick PSA for the podcast. We are the American Red Devils. We are for fans, by fans. You want to support us, check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/American Red Devils. Why do we have Patreon? Why do we talk about it? It's because we don't have any private sponsors on this podcast. We're not hawking anything you don't need. We want to be directly supported by you, the fans. That is our vision for this podcast. We're trying to get to 100 Patreon subscribers. Please check it out. If you want to go the extra mile, we do a behind-the-scenes podcast episode every month. We give away pins, stickers, scarves, shirts, you name it. Big shout-out to Jacoby, who became a new Patreon subscriber this week as well. Also, check out our blog, our website, www.americareddevils.com. Check out our store, americareddevils.store. Buy a scarf or a shirt. Everything you buy supports the small-time operations. Sir, tell them about iTunes reviews.
iTunes reviews or 5-star reviews of the American Red Devils podcast, wherever you listen. It's great. We support the pod. Helps us get found organically by other fans like yourself. And also, we're doing free merch giveaway from now until the end of time. All you have to do, write a screenshot or take a 5-star review wherever you listen, and take a screenshot and send it to AmericanRedDevils@gmail.com with your mailing address, and I will personally pick, pack, and ship some free ARD gear. Send it right to your door. We got a great one from Keegan. Caption, love this podcast. I've been a fan of United since I was a kid, and for a long time, it was hard to find someone from the States who consistently talked about United and did it well. American Red Devils definitely does that, and it makes me feel more connected as an American fan. Thank you, Keegan, for the great review. Thank you for all the fans writing reviews. We're almost at 500 on iTunes, which is a great objective for us, but either way, it's all about United.
498. So if you're on iTunes, you listen to iTunes, help us get to 500. I don't know why we care about that milestone, but we do. Alex is hyped about the reviews. He stuffs all the envelopes, so I guess that's why you're pumped.
That's right. Because it's hard work, brick by brick. We've been doing this pod, 5 years
now, licking
sir?
those envelopes, sir.
Sir,
a lot of paper cuts.
I got adhesive, bro. Adhesive. I'm peeling them off.
All right, let's jump into it. International break, sir. You want to give us a breakdown so far of the UEFA Nations League?
We've had some matches. The games got going today in earnest, but we're going to talk about where our players are featuring. That's what we're talking about, right? In the UEFA Nations League, we have England, who's featuring Harry Magoo, Luke Shaw, and Dino. Obviously, he's on loan at Nottingham Forest. They are playing big matches against Italy and Germany, Italy, which is tomorrow. And obviously, we talked about it at length, sir. Marcus and Jaden both didn't feature, but you know what? That's not a bad thing. Marcus come back from injury, and, Jaden can spend more time with his new manager.
So bizarre, very bizarre that those two players are out of the squad. Obviously, Southgate, they have a lot of players. I mean, England's deep, but that's the problem with having a deep squad is you're going to hire a numpty like Gareth Southgate. He's gonna bottle it. I'm feeling like the United States, we're going to be frisky in that group of the World Cup. I fancy a draw or a win for the United States. I could be a little biased here for all the people in the UK listening, but I just think the malaise of, semifinal, you lost to Croatia in the World Cup, then you get to that final at home, bottle it, that has like vibes of Ole and Villarreal. We all know how that went. Southgate, that final, I just think England's going to struggle a little bit because you're bringing Magoo, you're bringing Luke Shaw. It's just going to be an interesting one here. Not like I am rooting against those players, but they're so far off form. He's such a trust and know manager versus a form manager, and I just feel it's next man up. Whoever's playing well should get an opportunity. It's probably the best way to do it, but this could be the end for Gareth Southgate.
To kind of hop on top of that, I just don't think he's a very good manager. And I think you saw that in those two finals.
Middlesbrough in the championship.
And he managed England women, and then England U23s. But you know what? England, they really like Gareth Southgate. They're like really hot on Gareth Southgate.
I don't know if they like him.
They do, bro. I now have Sky. Thank you, sir. And they really, trust me, they fucking love Gareth Southgate.
Of course, Sky does.
But that's England. They pump him up big time.
Propaganda mill.
But like you said, I think like losing those finals or losing the semifinal and the final does the same thing to confidence that it did to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. As soon as he lost that Villarreal final, it was done. It was over, and I think like he's just not a good enough manager considering how good his squad is and the trap choices like a Harry Maguire who's just been the de facto star. That even if he's in bad form, he's going to go and probably play him. So I don't know. We talked too much about England, but those are ones to watch.
England is the big Manchester United play in England. We have the most English players, so it does make sense you highlight England. But there is drama amongst England and the selections and United. So, sir, we run a United podcast. Might as well talk about it. Next team up that we have a lot of players on. By the way, he's the GOAT. He plays for Portugal, sir. Bruno Fernandes, Diogo Dalot, 3 players on Portugal. They are going to play Czech Republic and Spain in their two competitive fixtures. That's it for this window. It's a tight one. But yeah, Portugal probably see 2 of them starting, maybe Dalot on the bench. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, you like to see like Dalot earn a right back spot for the Portuguese national team. Obviously, Bruno's bang on, as is Ronaldo. Ronaldo even going as far to say that he obviously wants to play this World Cup and the Euros in 2024. He's not going anywhere. But
So he's playing the World Cup.
I'm saying, bro,
He's
playing the World. He wants to play in the Euros in 24 at 39, sir. Because
He's going to be. Ronaldo will be on Portugal. Sir, they'll walk.
He might even make it to the USA World Cup, bro.
He's got like a robot exoskeleton. He's going to be able to run fast.
Playing.
He's still going to be playing in 2026 in the United States, which will be another great World Cup, and Canada and Mexico as well. Next player, Scott McTominay, did feature for Scotland. I watched all of his touches and everything. Scotland, they played the Ukraine.
Beat him.
They did beat him. Scotty, didn't look as sharp as he has for United, but again, he's playing in Scotland. But he's playing a little more advanced in the midfield role, doing a different job. He wasn't playing center back, so at the same time, you have to say hats off to Scotty.
Absolutely, like you said, because he's been in good form. He's been keeping Casemiro out of the side. Obviously, sometimes he plays center back, sometimes he plays midfield. They have a pretty crowded fixture list. They have 3 matches during this break. Ukraine twice and then Republic of Ireland. So that's one to watch. But Scotty McSauce, they're going to the World Cup, aren't they?
They are. Christian Eriksen played today, scored a banger against Croatia. They did lose, though. Great to see him in form. He is just an amazing player. Signing of the summer from my perspective. And they're going to be playing France next. Varane started today as well. I believe France beat Poland 2-0. Yep, they beat Poland. He started at center back. So Varane did not get injured today, which is actually very good for Manchester United, for everyone listening. France is actually like, I don't know if this where this puts them in the standings because they don't have it here, what we're looking at. But France was last place in the UEFA Nations League group, which means they could possibly get relegated down to Group B. And this is the whole thing with Nations League. Very confusing, very hard to understand, but there's Group A, B, and C, and I think there might even be a D, and then teams get relegated in these different buckets, and they play in groups that are drawn randomly, and then if you win your respective group, then you automatically qualify for the next Euro. So that's kind of how they toss it out. And then Group A, the best teams then play a tournament next summer that leads to a champion that then I believe also qualifies. So then there could be double qualification with the normal qualification, but this is basically a show for teams in Europe to qualify. If you want to check it out, Wikipedia is always the best place to read about the tournaments. They do show them and break them down nicely, but even this one was hard to understand, the UEFA Nations League, because it's literally like play the group stage this summer or this year, next year is the finals, and then you have Euros.
So much for a summer off next year.
Well, it's like a tournament.
I get it, but like I said,
but it's
more
like
games,
4-team tournament. It's like very tight. It's like not
the teams who don't automatically make it to the Euro qualification. They have a chance to qualify for the Euros.
No.
It's even more complicated than that.
Even more complicated than that. Yeah.
My dumb monkey brain. Was not gonna be
you
able
would
to figure
think
it
it'd
out.
be like a tournament of everyone who didn't make it to then make it be like really cool, but instead it's actually no. They're trying to get all the big teams to play in this tournament format that results in like a champion.
For no reason.
That then automatically qualifies.
That no one cares about Nations League.
Yep.
Anyway, we misspoke. Scotland is not going to the World Cup. Wales took their spot. Obviously, they're in our group.
That's correct.
That's a big one.
I thought it was Wales, Ukraine, and then Scotland. Yeah, that's right. It was those 3.
But Ukraine missed it, and I guess Scotland missed it. And obviously, we're playing, sir, Gareth Bale, bro. Get ready.
Old man Gareth Bale. I'm not worried about that. Wales is frisky, and if you look at the way the bookies have it, is England is like 80% to qualify. Wales is second, but it's like 52%, and the United States like 49. Just on the odds, of the money, right? So Wales would be 2-1, US 2-1, England, obviously the odds-on favorite, and then Iran is hovering around like nobody's thinking about them, but they're going to be frisky as well. It's an interesting group. I just think the surprise is England's not going to play that well.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think we talked about Southgate and his deficiencies. Moving on, sir, in at least who's in the Euro qualification or the Nations League.
Malacia,
he got picked, but he didn't play today in the Netherlands match. Whoever they played, sir.
They play France? Yes.
They played France. So he didn't get a feature. He's in the squad. We'll see if he gets an opportunity to play in some of the other matches. I think they're playing Poland and Belgium as well. And then we've got the Swedish lads in Alanga and Lindelof. They are both called up. They're playing Serbia and Slovenia next. And then I think Dubravka went down with an injury, actually. So our second choice keeper might be out for the October run of fixtures.
Yep. He is coming back, and it's injury to our backup keeper. Look, it's just our man, Dave Saves, role number 1.
That's it. He ain't going anywhere. There's also international friendlies because you don't want to leave out the South American or African lads. So Anthony is with Casemiro and Fred. Telles is also there, who's obviously on loan at Sevilla. I guess they're playing games. Don't know why, but they're playing friendlies, sir.
No, it's just like the United States. The United States is playing friendlies
Tune-ups,
for the World
Tune-up,
Cup, right?
Tune-up.
This is like these 2 games. Most teams are playing 2, like the United States. You bring all the players that are healthy, and then this is the final chance to impress, right? So you might see some surprise names on the U.S. men's national team roster. Maybe a Jordan Morris. Can he get in? Obviously, we don't want him in. He's like Luke Shaw × 2. And
Literally.
He plays striker, plays forward. Sorry to all the Jordan Morris fans. He's not that great.
I don't think there are that many Jordan Morris fans listening to maybe Miguel.
I don't know. But he's the MLS heavies like him had the opportunity to go to Europe, didn't, never really has kind of hit the highs since. And, I like certain players shouldn't be coming. Burkhalter will bring him because, his brother was the
COO, bro.
COO of the U.S. Soccer Federation, which is heavily involved with the MLS. So obviously you're going to have more MLS players because the commercial side of MLS and U.S. Soccer is so entwined that they push for players from their league to be in the World Cup. And now we're getting to the point where you actually don't need that many because we actually have tons of great talent in Europe. But sorry, I could go on all day about that issue with the United States men's national team. Also, Hannibal Mejbri will be in Tunisia's team, and they will be facing Brazil. And also, Lissandro Martinez will go on duty with Argentina, which I believe is in the United States, Honduras, and Jamaica. He had a visa issue because the U.S. embassy in London was shut down because the Queen passed away, so that he couldn't get his visa.
There you go.
So, unnecessarily, everything has to stop when the Queen dies. It was just like crazy. And then Facundo Palestri was named to Uruguay's squad despite a recent period with injury, which is great to see. Hopefully get some action for Uruguay.
And Eric Bailly's out injured, which is just a shocker. Who would have guessed Eric Bailly get injured? Hannibal Mejbri, that'd be the good one to watch, for us at least. There's going to be a lot of players that wear the Manchester United red that'll be featuring in Qatar, but one is Mejbri, who's like a key player of that Tunisia side that did make it to the World Cup. That'll be a fun one to watch beyond just us rooting for USA. We're going to be vicariously rooting for any United players that are likely to feature.
All right, so we're just going to review the set of games because we don't have a lot of games to talk about. So we're going to talk about the games that we are scheduled to play before the World Cup, which is absolutely...
That's 6 weeks, bro. Barely 6 weeks. It's like...
Insane set of fixtures. So we play City away October 2nd. Obviously, huge match. Manchester Derby. I think this game is going to tell you how it's all going to go. Then we play Ammonia October 6th. Away as well. Then we come back to play Everton away. Then we play Ammonia at home. Then we play Newcastle at home. This is October 9th, October 13th, October 16th. Then we play Tottenham at home October 19th. That will be a big game. Crazy Eyes Conte coming back. Then you got Chelsea away October 22nd. And then Sheriff at home October 27th. Then West Ham at home, October 30th.
Insane. That's just the October fixtures, sir. 9 of them.
Saucy Dad, November 30th away. November 3rd away. November 6th, Aston Villa away. Then EFL Cup. Oh, my God. Aston Villa at home. November 10th, then Fulham, November 13th away. And
Last one is Craven Cottage, sir, just for fun, right before I leave for the desert. By the way, it's like I just checked the weather in Abu Dhabi, so it's like 108 degrees today. So hopefully it cools down in the next 2 months.
Sir, the thing about we're realizing about going to the Middle East is not only is it 108 degrees, you can't wear shorts and a tank top either. You can't you take two guys from the Jersey Shore over here. We wear like
man takes. I thought we were man takes, short shorts.
Man takes and short shorts. You know, that's what we're gonna be like. Neon man takes and short shorts.
No pants.
And instead, you got to be wearing like the full get up. So it's gonna be really interesting to see how we do. Something tells me that we are preparing by sitting in the pod bunker.
It is hot, but it's not 108.
But back to the fixtures here. This is crazy, and this is where you couple United's start, you couple the abrupt. First of all, we started horrifically. New manager, tons of new signings. Then all of a sudden, like something clicks. We have a few good games. New manager getting momentum. Then boom, canceled games. Then international break. And then we come back, and it is a sprint finish to the World Cup. This is just so difficult for Erik ten Hag. You have to think about it from his perspective as a new manager. Big defeat against City. Then he has to rotate for Ammonia away, tough travel, going to God knows where that team is from.
Cyprus. And you have to go to Goodison, who aren't playing well.
But things you got to rotate. Say we like draw or something goes sideways there because we saw us rotate against Saucy Dad, didn't play well. Then you got to go hostile again away Everton. They're not great, but
it's not a fun place to play. Goodison's not easy. And it's a night game.
And then you're like, okay, back home, Ammonia should be easy. Newcastle's frisky. Tottenham probably should beat us. And then Chelsea away. And then that point could be like meltdown, right? You know what I'm saying? You could be looking at lose to City, beat Ammonia away, say you beat Everton, like you could beat or draw Everton away.
You could lose Newcastle.
You could be doing frisky, but the whole thing is like Newcastle. You could literally win your 2 Europa League matches, lose to City, lose to Newcastle, lose to Tottenham, and like say get some points at Everton, and everyone's gonna be like melting down. Yeah. And that's like a little more than 2 weeks. In 17 days, you could go from the highs that we had to now like we're on the ropes, and then you play Chelsea in 4 days. I just don't think we have the squad quality and depth to deal with this type of rotation. And as a new manager, this is Erik ten Hag dropping the helicopter, skiing the double black diamond right here. I mean, I hope it goes well, but this is a tough test.
No, it is. It's not even just the amount of games, right? There's a lot of games, and they're, the quick succession of games, but you're playing top teams, right? City, playing Spurs, who are one of probably the best top 4 teams in the league. Chelsea, all right, they're a down and out Chelsea side, but they got a new manager. They should get a bounce from that. Newcastle, they're playing good football at the moment. And the gimmies will be Everton and West Ham. You got Ammonia twice, but it's going to be about rotation, and it's going to be about what are the injuries that are carried on this squad coming out of international break. It's like if you can keep Varane healthy, Martinez healthy, both of our fullbacks, and our midfield healthy, and all of our basically if you keep all of our players healthy that start of the 11, that's a good place to start. But like if you lose Varane, we are fucked.
No, I'm that's well aware.
We're so thin that you lose like Bruno or Christian Eriksen or Varane or we're reffed.
But even if you just take out the Europa League games and say we're good, we don't care about Europa League, you still have 6 big league games in October. That's a tall task.
Against good sides, like you said, 2 big ones on the road. I mean, City, they're never full, but. Goodison's not an easy place to play. Stamford Bridge isn't an easy place to play. You also have the Hammers. They haven't started off the season well, but we know they're dangerous, and they always like to get up for a United match. It's just a lot of big teams, sir. But you know what? Erik ten Hag, so far so good. He's shown us a lot of improvement on the pitch. He's shown that he's being ruthless, and he's not have any expectation that just because Darren Fletcher rates an English player, he's not going to necessarily start. But when those starts become forced because of injuries, that's when it becomes a concern. So.
Well, we're dying for depth in a lot of positions at Manchester United. Midfield.
Spigot's off, sir. They already said
right
it.
back.
Richard Arnold said
They're
he
not
says
spending
we're
money.
we spent all the money. We got
keepers.
nothing left.
Think about our backup keeper. Like Dubravka in Europa League would have been great to have here. We said it in the preview pod before the season. You look at the months, you look at the fixtures. This is make or break stuff for Erik ten Hag. If he can get out of this, and we're still in the top 4 in the Premier League, and we're in some semblance of moving on in Europa League after this month, I mean, the man is a genius, because this is City, Everton, Newcastle, Tottenham, Chelsea, West Ham. That is no joke. That when your reprieve is a regenerated Newcastle,
Yeah.
you have a bummed out Everton. Should be an easy game, but then you have the West Hams of the world. So it all starts with that big game against Man City. And boy, if we win that, it could go the other way. This could all come up roses. Yeah. Who knows? But then you have that big break with the World Cup. It's a season like we've never seen before. We stop playing November 13th. We come back from the World Cup, Boxing Day. Merry Christmas, Nottingham Forest at home. What a game.
No, Jesse Lingard, what a game. Bro. Let's go.
The return of Jesse Lingard. But, sir.
Let's do it.
United in the news.
We got some news.
Manchester United released fourth quarter earnings. This is just a snapshot. They haven't released the annual report, which they will file with the SEC. That has all the juicy details that I would like to get into. Top line P&L.
How we looking?
You're trying to make money. You want to make money. Lost 150 million pounds. It's a lot of money.
Say it again. How much did they lose?
They lost 115 million pounds, with 62 million pounds of that coming from financing, which would be another word for debt.
Yep. And dividends. Or is that excluding or including dividends, you think?
That excludes dividends, but the dividend payout would be another 33 million. Net debt up 100 million.
In 1 year.
And for people trying to understand this, right, because there's a lot of angles, and I get pretty much every Muppet take possible on Twitter. I'm trying to cut through the BS to explain it to everybody, because it can be confusing. Manchester United is worth a lot of money, yes. On New York Stock Exchange, they're not worth so someone might buy them for $4 billion, but if you mark to market the enterprise value, which is basically the market cap plus cash minus debt. Plus debt minus cash, which is what everyone would pay for you, right? That's their enterprise value. They're probably like £2 billion. But someone's going to pay more than that, right? And that intrinsic value has to do with the brand of Manchester United and somebody wanting to own the asset. But at the same time, if they're worth a lot of money, it doesn't mean that operationally they're doing well or the club is healthy. Losing 150 million pounds this is like when we came back from COVID. This is when the team was doing well. This is when we were in the Champions League. This is last season. You have to understand, their fiscal year ends June 30th because of the season. So this tracks last season. We were in the Champions League. We had Champions League money last year. We had all the increases from our sponsors for being in the Champions League last year.
Old Trafford was full again. We lost 115 million pounds. That's insane.
That is such a red flag, because this club is being run horrifically, right? Some of the interest was due to the pound losing value against the US dollar. Shout out to the dollar. Shout out to freedom. Shout out to not having a monarchy. Just kidding. But at the same time, this is how the club's being run, and it's being run in unsustainable ways. So when Manchester United this is not on EBITDA basis, which is cash flow. I don't have those exact figures to calculate it just yet. But if you look at what Manchester United should be, they should be making 150 million in cash a year, right? That's how the club should be run. You should be taking the 150 million, you should be putting it in the bank account. Every year you should be stacking up cash. And Manchester United is not. Instead, they're stacking up debt because they're running a deficit. And part of that deficit is paying the dividend to the Glazers. Part of the deficit is paying 62 million in costs associated with debt. So it's 100 million off. Manchester United lost 100 million. Lost 115 million. They literally, due to how the Glazers own and run this club, they took out 100 million, because servicing the debt is a decision from the Glazers. They don't need to have that debt on the club. They put it there, and it's costing us tons of money. Now, everyone might say, well, we spent 200 million pounds in the transfer window. Well, we didn't actually spend 200 million pounds, because if you have to look at upfront, if you're going to do it on a cash basis, how much money did we actually pay everyone this year? Not a lot of money because we negotiate with Ajax over 5-6 years, milestones, etc. So all these deals we do, we're obligated to pay money in the future, which screws us up going forward always. Not a great way to run a business. Anytime you're losing this much money. Oh, by the way, in COVID in 2021, we lost 92 million pounds. How many years can we keep running the club like this? The club is max leverage. You can't put more debt on it. We have 630 million, I think, total debt on the club. You look at their EBITDA, we can't put more on. It's just, this is run completely to the red line, which makes me think that the sale is more imminent than we think, because there's no way that this business is being run in any way, shape, or form that it can continue.
No, you're spot on. I mean, think about the impact of just 100 million pounds in money and the impact you could have on both facilities, on bringing in more players, on, you know what, if you didn't have the debt, if you didn't have the dividend that they continue to take even during a pandemic, even when fans couldn't come to the stadium and the team was suffering, they still took money off the table. Of course they did. And at the end of the day, like you said, putting things on the credit card just puts us in a position where we're less flexible going forward in terms of the deals we can make, the investments we can make, and they've shown it, right? All the stuff they talked about that they're going to do after Super League, they haven't done, or they've done just a name only, just the bare minimum so they can kind of check it off the list. They had some tweet on social media that you could tell was just like a PR propaganda to take over from the fact that the financials will come out and they're fucking ugly as hell, because of course they're ugly. The company's being run into the ground. It's the piggy bank of the Glazers.
Smoke and mirrors.
That's it. Right? Like, oh, we did a fan forum and you could do a fan buyback or some nonsense, which really at the end of the day doesn't change anything. So here's the thing. It's bad now. What happens if we miss Champions League again and don't get that 100 million? Plus we get the contract with Adidas drops down by 30 million a year if we miss Champions League 2 seasons in a row.
Oh, Champions League's already going to... Players' wages will go down because that clause is in their contract, which will help the loss. But we also lose sponsorship revenue if we're not in the Champions League. We also lose, 50 million, at least 60 million in broadcast revenue without being in the Champions League. Look, I have to have the full annual report to run all the numbers. I have my own model. I run it all. And once I get the annual report, that's where all the real information is and how much deferred transfer spend we have. And but this is just, talk is cheap. Look at what they're saying and then look at the numbers, right? They're always going to lie to you, but you look at the numbers, and this is gravity. 2021, we lost 92 million. 2022, we lost 115 million. This is obviously a non-cash basis, so everyone focuses on cash flow. There's a lot of amortization from the purchasing of players that is added back, so the club is actually making cash, but it's not a healthy asset. Not at these levels, not at this loss, not at servicing the debt to the tune of 62 million this year and paying $33 million dividend and putting all these transfers on the credit card and then telling everyone that we're not going to spend like this anymore, and then saying we have a new stadium project with no source of funding. There's no direction. There's no future at this club. And yeah, Ten Hag might have got some scraps of meat. He might be doing the best of it, which as fans we love, but this is a club that has existed for over 100 years and will exist for another 100 years. And this needs to be fixed, because this is the bleeding heart of the club, is how these books are managed, how these owners are treating this club. And right now it is awful. We should have a sustainable model where we're not going out in the market and then overpaying for players. So we're losing so much money selling them. It's so unsustainable the way we bought and sold players the past decade. It's so unsustainable how the Glazers have run this club up with debt and taken out these dividends. And that is the main core issue, is there is an end to this, and that is them selling it. It's them selling it in a big cash deal, someone coming in and then fixing this team and doing it right. We all know, if you've ever been a fan, you want to go to a game, you want to try to figure out how to buy tickets. As fans, we like take our money, like sell good merchandise, like make an authentic relationship with the fan. Like there's so much money that they can make if they thought about Manchester United the correct way and like basically sold us the product the right way. We don't want everything they do. It's backwards. It's not run right. They could even make more money if someone owned it correctly. And that's why there's so much opportunity with this asset, but it's just been neglected for so long under the Glazers, and then they got to go.
Hey, well said, sir. And it's like, what is their outlook around the club? And just hiring core competency in management. It's like, look what Chelsea did. They brought in, okay, they had a new owner. He's kind of a buffoon. He's making all these declarations about what should happen to the English game. But they brought in a heavy as their DOF, or they're in the process of negotiating with a legit guy out of Germany who's done it before, brought in like heavy talents. And we have Jean Murtaugh. Jean Murtaugh. But that's the point.
That's the whole point.
The CEO is a nobody who is not qualified to run a football club of this size, and the DOF, who's a DOF in name only, is a nobody. And both of them are unqualified schmucks, and that's who's running the club, right? It's
that's the great.
You had
Woodward
for
point,
10
sir.
years, and then you had this new Woodward, fatter Woodward, who's basically the same. He's a former banker accountant that has no experience running a football club. And their DOF is some guy who bottled the fucking Erling Haaland deal twice. And he's our DOF. And they are bringing in like a legit DOF because you know what? Bowley knows enough to know what he don't know. And that is what a smart fucking person does. It's like you have to know your limitations and say, you know what? We probably shouldn't hire the guy who actually helped us structure the LBO to run the club as well.
That's a great point. And it talks about intentionality with the asset, right? If you want to go out and pay top dollar for top talent to run a football club, which is going to get you sound acquisitions, sound departures, sound structuring of your academy, etc. Like that's what you do. You go out and pay the guy to run the team. And the biggest indictment of our owners is who currently is running the club.
Yep.
And you love to see little Richard Arnold, who somehow like grew a conscience, where like he signed up to be like the blood-sucking vampire for the Glazers, and then wants to go out and be like, but I have a conscience and I care, and I want to drink beers with you, like because like he actually still wants to live there. It's like, no, dude, you got to move, bro. Like what you doing with this deal? Some other stats here: total interest costs during the Glazers' ownership. This is total amount of money the debt has cost the club since they bought us, £886 million.
Just on interest.
That is a new stadium.
Yeah.
That is a new stadium. Like when they was something they promised when they originally took over. They never did it. But the cost of the debt alone, by the way, Manchester United didn't have any debt when they took it over. They were the one who put the debt on. The debt can be paid back, should have been paid back, could have easily been paid back, and they decided not to do it, and it still costs us money, a drag on and that's why they're going to sell it, right, and it will be paid off as part of a transaction. That's why they have the debt and they're never paying it.
Right.
It's part of an LBO is you leave the debt there, so then when you sell the company, the buyer takes it off the books. Their gross borrowings, £636 million. That is total debt on the books at Manchester United, and they're losing $115 million. That's not a good sign either. That is gravity. That does not lead to us starting to stack bills, put away tons of cash, and being ready to do a stadium deal, build out Carrington, sign new players in a sustainable manner. You look at Ajax, a team that's run very well. They made the amount of money Manchester United paid them in transfers is equal to their total revenue for last year. They're going to double revenue based on selling two players. That's a smart company.
Yep.
That's sustainable. They can take that. They can take half of that money, put it in a trading facility. They can take half that money, acquire some other players. It's just smart business, and that's what I'm talking about. Sustainability. Is this working? Are we stacking money? Are we making good deals? Are we selling players for gains? Are we reinvesting in the stadium, the training facility? And all that is negative. And that's why United are on the downturn. Now, when I say talk is cheap, I'll give you some quotes from the call here.
Speaking of cheap talk,
Richard Arnold.
Also, did the just to cut you off, sir, I'm sorry, but the dividends go up? Were they always £34 million a year?
No,
or is that because of the
up.
drop in the dollar?
They were making
the drop
up
in
the
the
dividend. They were making
it up.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Richard Arnold, quote, this is what he said on the call. While remaining committed to the long-term investment in the stadium, we will be disciplined in our capital plans, which must be sustainable, and mindful of the macroeconomic pressures and inflationary environment currently impacting the UK and wider global economies.
Blaming inflation. He's blaming inflation, sir.
Costs of billion-dollar stadiums are going up. This makes no sense. We are committed to long-term investment in the stadium. We are committed. But we're going to be disciplined in our capital plans.
So
no, you're not.
So bad you're rereading it. It's true.
They're not disciplined in their capital plans.
No, they're not.
Look at the interest costs. The interest and dividend payments this year were $100 million. That's not discipline in capital plans. Discipline in capital plans is paying down the debt, saving cash,
Canceling
the
dividend.
definition of
Canceling the dividend.
That's the definition of being disciplined in our capital plans, which must be sustainable and mindful of economic pressures. Makes no sense. Next quote. We believe the building blocks for the future success are being put in place, but we acknowledge that there's still much more for us to do this season and beyond, and that success will not happen overnight. Obviously, it's on the come. And then John Murtaugh with the crowning jewel.
Here we go. This is the best.
Quote, I don't know why he's on the investor call. They got to trot out the bodies. Quote, overall, we are ahead of schedule in our recruitment plans as envisioned at the start of the summer, and we do not anticipate the same level of activity in future windows. As always, our planning focuses on the summer window.
So we're not spending in January, and we're not ever spending as much as we spent last summer. So don't get used to it. Did I get the gist of it?
Yeah. So translation: we are not investing in the stadium.
Yeah.
We're not doing anything. Like, we gave the fans red meat because the board said so. The credit card is maxed to the nines, and we can't spend any more. That's literally what this is. So as a fan, you're like, we need a lot more players. And if this was done sustainably, where you could sell Luke Shaw, make some profit, you could sell Brandon Williams, you could sell Eric Bailly, you could sell Harry Maguire, you could bring in some other players. That's sustainable, right? And there's nothing.
They're loaning everybody.
There's nothing
They can't
there.
even sell players because the contracts they gave them are so ridiculous that no other club
Overpay
is
for Anthony, overpay for Casemiro. Casemiro. That's all we got. That's the only ace up their sleeve. Glazers feel the pressure, overpay, and that we
Speaking of
hope
which-
that on the other side of that is a deal for Manchester United. Part of this is a hysterical £25 million that was paid out to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Ralph Rangnick for firing them. Again, this is another bad deal FC, waste money FC. We paid Rangnick and Solskjaer $25 million to fire them. That's a right back.
I know.
That's crazy.
That's Dumfries right there. That's Dest. It's absolutely true.
It's like Woodward giving Ole the new deal before he deserves it.
And then you bring in
made
Ralph
no
Rangnick,
sense.
it's a shit show, and then you don't even lean on him for his true expertise, which would be a DOF type role, and instead you deputize that to John Murtaugh because that guy is not qualified, and because of that, he knows that he owes them something for being put in that position. He will not talk shit. He will just say the party line, whereas Ralph, we know about Ralph, bro. Wreckham Ralph ain't he's gonna go his own way. And they can't have that because the Glazers, they didn't like him because he was just honest about how much of a shit show this club is. All the former players talk about it. The former managers talk about it. We know it. Just keep the heat on the Glazers. They're the worst thing that happened to this club in the last 20 years, and they've never been closer to getting out, but they're not gone yet.
And $25 million would get you a pretty good director of football. Probably
great.
the best one in the world,
yeah.
And that's the type of this is it's incompetence. And over, the track record is
Pennywise, pound foolish. So they're
never admit your mistake, double down,
never admit
do the same thing, never think of everyone with what's his name, the signing this summer. Thank God I forgot his name.
Nunez.
No, the one the signing, Frankie De Jong.
Oh yeah, that
Frankie De Jong shows you exactly what you get with Murtaugh and Arnold. That's it.
Yeah, because they made an announcement
that's
that he in May he never wanted to leave, and we went for a target that apparently wasn't available.
And
the whole
everyone's
summer.
like, "No, man, these are the new guys in charge. They wouldn't be in Barcelona walking around like a bunch of idiots if this wasn't going to go through." And
they
it's
were.
actually, they are a bunch of idiots, and that's all you need to know. Next one here, please save us. Please save us. Somebody buy this club. From Webby and O'Neill, the YouTube channel. I actually like Webby. He's a riot. They released a video talking about a consortium here that's looking to buy 26% of Manchester United. It's not associated with this Michael Knighton guy who basically is, a nobody and has no money or nothing. Like I said, and that went away very quickly. So you got to be wary of takeover news coming from YouTube fan channels. Just gonna highlight this one. Lots of deals are done, and guys like Todd Bowley know how to do multi-billion-dollar deals, and they don't give a fuck what anyone on YouTube thinks. So if there's news coming out on YouTube that a consortium's in touch with these YouTube channels and talking to them, that's a bad sign. Number one, because if they were doing a deal with Manchester United, they would not be talking to anyone about it because that could screw the deal. If there is no deal to be done and the Glazers won't call you back, then you could talk to YouTube channels, try to get the plebeians talking about it, to try to get social media going, to maybe put some pressure on the Glazers, which
might be what this is.
Exactly, but this is a sign of weakness, right? If you're ever trying to do a deal and you go to this route, it means that there probably is not one. I'll get into what he said. So he said there's a consortium looking to buy 26% of Manchester United. He said they have proof of funds. In some way that was proved to him via email, and they're looking for a right to buy 51%. And his exact words are, they are arranging to speak through an intermediary with the Glazers about putting a proposal in for 26% of the club. So they are arranging to speak to somebody who will then maybe tell the Glazers about this proposal. That's the level of like irrelevancy, if you understand, right? So it's not like the Glazers are soliciting offers for the club, and this is coming through a YouTube channel. People want to buy Manchester United. Yeah, no shit. There's a lot of people who want to buy Manchester United, and the Glazers aren't having it. They're trying to talk to an intermediary with the Glazers. That intermediary would be an investment bank, most likely, but the Glazers aren't hiring an investment bank, then there's not a lot here. So there's not a lot of meat here, but this stuff goes through social media, and I have to kind of say, He did go on to say, I believe this is O'Neill, he did say his gut says things have advanced farther. So maybe they are talking to a bank. Now, if the Glazers hired a bank to sell the club, that'd be a different story. It'd be easy to get a hold of them, but I just don't, there's not enough here for me to get that excited.
I mean, there are certain things you like, right? Like actual details, 26% going to 51%, but the fact that like there's individuals involved, but like Jim Ratcliffe, that is, needs to be brought in instead of him being like tip of the spear, taking the lead. It's like his consortium. That kind of sounds like they have the initiative, but they don't have the money or the backer. And also, like you said, like they haven't run a process, or they're not running a process on the sell side where they, have hired an investment bank to go and take the asset to market and kind of bring in bids or proposals. So, like you said, it is the YouTube route, but there are specifics, but at the end, there are also like details that make it seem like there's nothing there. So we'll see.
Yeah, but here's the deal.
We'll see. But the financials are helpful.
So
they're so ugly that you would think that there's got to be some smoke coming because
but they're not like you have to look at the cash flow, right? Those are the non-cash loss, and yes, the Glazers can survive. I mean, the club can survive. The question is with the pressure from the fans and like the tightening of the belt, which is coming. And the inability to keep doing what they did this past summer to even save it one more time, you're right. But the way Manchester United will sell will be for X dollars to somebody really rich. Yeah. It's not going to be like some dudes talking to a YouTube channel want to buy 26% and then ask for a pretty please permission to buy 51%. The Glazers don't want that deal.
They want a full buyout. They want out.
This isn't, my point is, no shit, these guys want to buy United. Please let us buy 26% and then let us raise money to buy more, right?
So we can have a controlling interest, right?
But the one thing they always harp on, proof of funds. All these guys on YouTube in the UK, they're like, well, they have to see proof of funds. Proof of funds is step like 0 of a deal. You understand? Like
do you exist?
Like,
are you legit?
I have $5 billion. I want to buy Manchester United. Talk to the Glazers, then say, hey, I want to talk to you or not. That's step 0. Like, as far as I'm concerned, without proof of funds, that is negative step. Like, you have to have the money to buy it to even be considered. So like the idea, everyone's like thinking like, oh, there's proof of funds here. That doesn't matter because the Glazers aren't going to want $1 billion for anything when a royal in Dubai can literally write a $5 billion check to them. They can go tomorrow. Like, this deal will be done with a total complete buyout, full top dollar paid, Glazer kids getting almost $1 billion each, riding off in the sunset. That is how this is going to go. There's going to be no like
51-49.
Like, hey, we can only get $1 billion, but we're going to get more, and trust us. So then you could dissolve your share rights, so then we can somehow get more of the club over time. That makes 0 sense. They would not entertain that offer anyway, and that makes sense why this consortium is talking to YouTube. And that's look. And if it goes through, then there might not be someone with $5 billion. But I believe that Manchester hired a banker to sell them tomorrow. There would be, just like Chelsea, I think 100 people lined up, ready to go. I think there'd be more
people. It's a better asset.
And that's the problem, is the Glazers haven't done that.
Right.
And why would you sell 26% when you can get 100 people wanting to buy it all?
We covered
that's
it,
the point.
So we're shooting holes through it.
Yeah, but if they can get 100 people lined up to buy it all in one shot, why would you consider 26?
So maybe it's not even on the market, sir. Maybe this is all just smoke.
That's what I think. I think it's the pressure bubbling, and
you got to keep the pressure on, because you know what? regardless if we make Champions League or not, they ain't spending next summer. Like, that's out. They spent this summer. They got them off their back. But, like, I think especially if we make Champions League, they ain't spending shit.
Well, I'm trying to chop through the noise like a little bit, right? You know, as we try to do with the rumors, because it gets people's hopes up and, you know.
Fair enough.
Speaking of chopping through the noise, Harry Maguire blames De Gea for partly his poor form. You apparently say this has been like slapped. Mark Ogden, ESPN.
ESPN ain't reliable, to be fair.
I like Mark Ogden.
He's not great. But this fits the narrative. I mean, Harry Maguire has done this himself. He's called out other players on his team. He's just said, like, hey, I'm pretty good. I play for England, so I can't be that bad. You know what? Make of what you will, but at the end of the day, you know, it'd be better served with Maguire moving on. If there was actually interest from either Barcelona or Chelsea looking to sign Harry Maguire, we should have sold his ass, even for 50, 40 million pounds. You just got to move him on. And he ain't qualified ever to be the captain. Like, that was a mistake. It's still a mistake. Bruno is the de facto captain because he can't even get in the fucking side with Varane and Martinez starting in front of him. But we don't know if this is real, but it feels, you know, he just like, he ain't worth the drama, bro. Yeah, maybe the new Paul Pogba.
No, but it's the drama. You know what I'm saying? So, like, first of all, like, I don't think like everything Mark Ogden says is like 100%, but I do think that he's like a respectable journalist who gets it from sources somewhere, right? And there definitely is an anti-Maguire camp, and there's a pro-Maguire camp, and for whatever reason, this Harry Maguire is in that gossip train. And what I've looked at is his interviews that he's done after a game is tone deaf.
Yep.
Him tweeting out highlights of him when we have like the worst season in like 30 years, tone deaf. Him going out and getting a photo with a fan when he's drinking beer after Ole sack, tone deaf. He strikes me as a guy who's tone deaf.
Can't read the room.
So the idea of him blaming De Gea doesn't sound outside the realm of what I've heard directly from Harry. But you're right. There is an assassination sort of beat up on him, and then like, oh no, he's the best guy ever. And then like, I don't know if I could corroborate best guy ever, but I'm sure people are pro Maguire. People are saying he is the best guy ever and all this. But, you know, look, Harry Maguire's got one job to do. He's got to go to England. He's got to play for England and win the World Cup, and he'll shut everyone up. That's it. He's got to play really well for England, and I bet you he's going to come out, dude. I bet you it's not going to go right. You know, it's like I would have sold him. Absolutely would have sold him for $45 million to Chelsea.
Oh, yeah. He'll be here for years.
Easiest sale ever.
He'll be here for years, right?
Easiest sale ever. Sell him to Chelsea.
As long as Darren Fletcher has like real weight at this club, which makes, you know, I like him as a player, but he has no business being top 3 in that front office. He will feature Humpty Dumpty. Harry Maguire will be hanging around, bro. He ain't going nowhere. They want the amortization. They can add back on the $80 million fucking fee.
Look, jumping into a quick podcast segment here. U.S. men's national team takeover. We got to talk about the games. United States, we play Japan tomorrow, 5:25 a.m. Pacific. That's a little too early for me to get up. I'm just being honest. I'm going to DVR.
We're good. We already qualified, bro.
I already qualified, but that'll be an interesting game with Japan. Then we have Saudi Arabia, 11 a.m. September 27th. These are going to be some critical games. Burke Heffer is going to be looking at what players he wants to include in his team as far as the omissions in the squad. So I'm concerned here with Burke Heffer's picks. You got Jordan Morris over PFOC. Timothy Way is injured, so I'm not too worried about that. But there's MLS heavy, honestly.
And PFOC just scored a nice goal. I haven't been watching MLS, but how's thick-chested Jordan Morris? If Luke Shaw's the meat pie, then
if Jordan Morris goes to
like
Qatar,
I'll
be like, if he goes to Qatar, I'll be like,
bro. He's gone.
And that's really what it comes down to. As a United States fan, it comes down to this. Look, we have a bunch of fans who listen to the podcast who like MLS. I think the MLS is getting better. It's definitely on the up. There's a lot of teams. I think it dilutes everything. But if I can't watch it. I'm just being honest. I'm literally just being honest. Like can't watch. Can't watch it. It's getting more watchable, but like not even close.
It's getting better, but we've been spoiled. We're spoiled.
I'm a huge fan of the sport. Can't watch it. That says all you need to know. And these players who just get picked because the U.S. men's national team, the MLS are in bed, and the executive team is in bed.
Well, who else bothers you? I know we bag on Morris all the time. He's like the meat pot. He's like the Magoo of the U.S. men's national team squad. Did Yedlin, is Yedlin playing in the U.S.? Is he playing for Atlanta now?
No, I gotta. Sorry,
I'm putting you on the spot. I'm sorry.
We got Google.
We're in USA. We're in USA time.
He plays for Inter Miami, but I mean, Yedlin's been to the world. You have to. I'd much prefer to bring some vets who've played it and are playing in the MLS too. But it's like some young defenders that we're gonna bring. Like, why aren't we? John Brooks is being passed up. Like, why is John Brooks apparently just has an interpersonal relationship? So there's always that issue.
He doesn't like him, right?
Anytime you have and we've been following the World Cup, going to the World Cup for a while. You have the U.S. team, and there's always that MLS kind of tint that gets a few players that should definitely be there. Now, PFOC has to be at the World Cup. I don't know why he's not included. I haven't heard Burkhalter's presser about it. Brooks should 100% be included. He's not. Those are two players, that just make me nervous. I understand there's like a locker room and there's a team vibe and there's everything, but when you replace them with players who aren't playing in like the Bundesliga, that's kind of when it's like red flag.
No, totally. But hey, we criticize England for their manager. I'll criticize our team, U.S. national team, for our manager. So that is going to be one of the considerations of this World Cup. It's a good squad. Even, as you said, it's a little MLS heavy, but compare that to 8 years ago. There's a lot more MLS players as a percentage of the overall squad. We are definitely sending more players to Europe, which is just good to see. Now we need a European manager, but that's for another day.
Well, who are you most excited about to see play at the World Cup? That's probably a great question.
I really am a fan of Musa and McKennie in midfield. I like to watch and Tyler Adams. So I think our midfield is solid, really decent there. Gio Reyna, of course, Pooley.
Let's go.
Pepe,
Gio is going to be the shit.
Right, but Morris, like you said, PFOC plays in Europe, just scored a goal, like a really nice header. And Jordan Morris, shoots out the t-shirt gun at halftime, bro. It's like, I don't see it, but whatever, because it's not as many players as it used to be from the MLS. So, those players excite me. Who you like, sir? Aronson, he's looking good. He's been playing under, what's-his-face at Leeds. So, I like to see that, all the USS players, along with Adams, going to Leeds. That's good to see.
For me, it's Gio, number one. I mean, watching all the qualifying games, I think he's our best player. Pulisic gets all the shine, hits the penalties, etc. But man, when he's in the team, we just look like a different squad. He's on another level. Like some of the stuff he can pull, but the problem is he is injury prone. So it's like keeping him healthy, making sure he doesn't get injured before the World Cup is huge. I think if he's healthy, and obviously you get the Pooley, Reyna, and then say you put a PFOC up top with that midfield, dude, we could do some serious damage. I think the United States is a serious dark horse, the World Cup. America Red Devils put it on notice. I think despite our manager, this is a team that has an edge. McKennie has an edge. He was breaking COVID protocol, hanging out with some.
He's a dog.
Yeah, he's a dog.
We should have got him. He's a dog. Okay, that's what we need, dude. We need more dogs.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think these players are going to listen to I think Burkhalter picks the team, he picks it, but when they're on the pitch and those big moments, I think players like McKennie can meet that moment. And I think we have more of these types of players than we ever had. I think we used to have 2 or 3, like Donovan Dempsey. There was two that could do it. I think we have 7, 8 that can do it. And McKennie's going to be central to that. McKennie, Reyna, it's going to be sick. It's the best team we've ever had. Best quality players, probably the worst coach we've ever had, though. And that goes.
Who's the guy from Long Island, bro? Who that literally bottled the qualification?
Bruce Arenas.
Yeah, he's a bad coach. Yeah. Born and bred, bro. And I don't think he coached
best coach we ever had. It's best coach we ever had, sir.
Jurgen, bro.
Yeah, I know exactly. But
that's contentious. I tell you what, you and I getting in arguments with American fans in the Middle East, that'll be funny. Burheffer.
Okay, so
Jurgen Klinsmann, just to give you MLS overlords, bro. That is contentious. That is people don't like to if you're a big fan of MLS, big fan of USA Soccer, you don't like to agree that it's run by Goldman guys, because that's what it basically is.
I know, but just to give you an idea of the outfits we had in Brazil going to the match, we went to Ghana, USA. We had the tank tops. What was it?
Back-to-back World
War champs. We had tank tops, back-to-back World War champs. Then the Napoleon Dynamite American flag puffy pants. I don't think we'd be wearing the same thing.
Are we allowed to wear those in the Middle East?
I don't know if we can.
They're pants friendly.
I know, but we had definitely some hysterical outfits. We'll have to see what we can pull off in Qatar. Mind you, that was 8 years ago.
The world's changed.
Jumping to fan questions. This is a U.S. men's national team one, so I'll get to that first. At D_Cole18, quote, We know Burkhalter is a jackass who prioritizes his own system, but leaving out Way, Pefok, Brooks, and others is criminal. Are we really going to let him derail the most talented group of players we ever had, especially after the debacle of missing the last World Cup?
I mean, it's a good question because, like, why is Way and Pefok not there?
Way's
Unless
injured. He has a
I
foot
figure
injury.
someone's got to have an injury if all those players are missing. I know he does not like Brooks, but Brooks is a solid player, big unit, right? Doesn't he still play in Germany?
Pefok and Brooks are not included. They are both healthy. I think Pefok, he tried to include him early in qualifying and then stopped. Brooks, he doesn't like. But yeah, Pefok and Brooks, if they don't come, those are two really good players are playing in the Bundesliga that should be on the team that we're not going to have there. And Brooks, by the way, scored the header to beat Ghana.
Has experience.
Like that's so invaluable as a vet.
He'd be one of the more experienced players in the squad, and we have a really young squad, so it'd be exactly what you'd want. But that being said, even with those gentlemen left out, this is still the most the best squad we probably had ever heading into World Cup. But at the end of the day, remember this alone. Burheffer ain't going to be the coach in 26, bro. Mark my words. Like, he ain't going to, because this will either not go well or the next round will not. You think so? We'll see. I'll take that bet.
I think he will. Jesse Marsh should be our coach.
He should. He should be the next coach.
Look, he qualified.
He did qualify.
He qualified. This is what I'm going to say. I slayed him in qualifying. It was horrible qualifying. It didn't go well. We didn't play well. Canada won the group. Like, we have way better team. He couldn't get the best out of him. Okay, we qualify. I give him a pass, and I'm cheering for the United States at World Cup. And then let the chips. If he can't get out of this group, he should be sacked.
He should be, because he should be able to get out of this group.
And yeah, you're
squad.
looking at, like, we could play horrible because of him, not get out of the group. But I think I look at the talent on the field, and I just think that has to overcome his acting like a fool on the touchline wearing like Jordans or whatever. I just have to think that McKennie is not going to be worried what he thinks.
What's he do? The bounce ball? He does like the bounce
behind
pass?
the back pass. Like, he's so weird.
He's
like a spaz. He's got to get, long term he's got to go, but World Cup, you just got to.
We should be winning. I think we have a good chance to win this group given the squad. I mean, obviously England have the best
World Cup.
I wouldn't go that far. But I think we have a chance to win the group. If you have like Eric Ten Hag was our manager with this squad, we could win the group.
I would say if you look at our team, it should be getting to the quarters, right? I think it's like it'd be a really hard one. You get second in the group, assuming Netherlands wins Group A. We'd play the Netherlands.
Big match.
But again, it's not really. It's like LVG Netherlands. It's like
it's not the best Netherlands.
It's
squad.
not the best Netherlands squad, and we're the young up and coming team. So I think it's not really this tournament. It's 26.
Yeah.
For this team, it's like we need to go get in the knockouts, get a little frisky, and then have the players build on that in 26, and then obviously win
and bring it
the
heavy.
World Cup
Bring it
at home.
Let's go, manager.
I need it. I need the World Cup. Like, the United States wins the World Cup, it's like game over. I can't wait. At Brian D. Burbrink, getting back to United, quote, "Who is the bigger numpty? Ed, watch this space, Woodward, or his banker buddy Richard? We have fucking burned through cash Arnold. Did Harry Magoo hire the Super League PR team? Over and under 10 pints for Brandon Williams before praising Magoo's leadership."
Let's start at the top. I mean, at the end of the day, no one's a bigger numpty than Ed Woodward. He had 10 years at it. He had every chance at it. Every mistake, really, that was made between 2013 and him slithering away maybe a year ago, right? Moyes, Van Gaal, Mourinho, and how they were all mismanaged, mistreated, and had the wrong kind of too much budget, not enough budget, pull it out, we'll fire everybody when Moyes came in, and he left none of the backroom staff that Ferguson had built for 26 years. It's got to be him. Now, if Richard Arnold takes 10 years at it, hey, he learned from the best how to be the worst in the business, so he could maybe, have a go at that. Harry Maguire, I don't even know what Harry Maguire is smoking these days, bro. Give me a hit of that, because all he's talking about is how great he is. We already talked about that. Brandon Williams, he's just upping his boy. England on England defenders. I don't blame Brandon Williams for backing Magoo. Twitter numpties, because there are a lot of Twitter numpties, to be fair, and they love going after Magoo.
I don't mind Brandon Williams. I would expect a teammate to defend his captain. First of all, so it's I didn't tweet that nefarious at Brandon Williams, but first of all, he's disenfranchised. He's not playing, and then what's he gonna do? Maguire sucks. Have you seen that highlight video of him just getting burned last year? That was a riot. What do you think he's gonna say? Last question here at Ty Kircher, quote, "Who's gonna grab the 9 spot by the scruff of our neck? Does this group have a leader when things go tough?" I mean, that's a great question. Who is going to grab the number 9 spot at Manchester United? Because it is up for grabs, and there's Martial's like, I'm good. I can't believe how injured he is. All these issues. Then you got Ronaldo not playing that. He hasn't capitalized. Then Rashford actually looks better on the left. Who is going to grab that spot?
I don't know if there is like a default answer. Like whoever ends up being the number 9 that's the most productive this year, is he going to be the number 9 that's most effective in years 2, 3, and 4 from here? Probably not. Like I think number 9 is one of the things that we need to figure out next window.
Well, we don't have any money.
Exactly.
You heard him.
So the fact that
said we're not spending like
we could have
this
gotten
anymore.
this freak from Norway for like £2 million, but hey, penny wise, pound foolish. That's this club, bro. Paying out dividends, $25 million to fucking fire Ole. You give him a new contract. How soon? Within 12 months of sacking him. I don't know. The number 9's a big one. Like Ronaldo wants to leave. Martial looked hot and fit coming into preseason, but like, dude, injured as usual.
He scored like 6 goals.
We need to sign a number 9,
dude.
bro. Like at the end of the day, we need to sign a number 9. Alvarez, the guy they signed as a backup to Holland, he would have been great. And you know what? It would have taken like half the dividends because he was 16 million pounds. But what I'm trying to say is we
don't
need,
buy
we
players
need
in
a number
January.
9.
We're waiting for the new manager to come. Right?
Yeah,
We're waiting for the new manager. CR7's the number 9. That's how it's going to go. There's going to be no better number 9 than him. Ultimately, right? Martial, like could he be that? Like maybe, but he's injured. Rashford. It's going to depend on who we're playing. I think if we play on teams that are going to pack it in, it's going to be Ronaldo. I think if you're trying to stretch like City, you're going to see Rashford more pace, Ronaldo coming on late, Rashford going out on the left, right? I think that kind of is a sneaky way to kind of switch from one mode to the other. And that is actually good that in attack you can start to see that like rotation for different opponents. The question is that back line, how long could that last? That is the big one. We don't have a lot of depth. Once you get past Varane and it's like
That's it. Him and Martinez are it, bro.
All right, that's it. That is the podcast. Thank you for listening to America Red Devils. It's great to be back in the bunker, sir.
You hot?
Sweating out with us. I'm hot. Not Saudi Arabia, not UAE hot though.
It's hot, bro.
Not Dubai hot, but it's good. We're practicing here. No man tanks.
Put your pants on, bro. We gotta wear pants everywhere, bro.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, it's gonna be a rough one. We're for fans, by fans. You like the podcast? Check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/America Red Devils, AmericaRedDevils.com, and AmericaRedDevils.store. Buy something if you want to support us. Sign up for Patreon. You want to support us? We're close to getting 500 reviews on iTunes. Drop a review, like, subscribe, whatever you can do. It's just me and Alex, nothing else. Keeping this pod alive. Pod never sleeps, sir. Give us our top 10 downloads last 7 days.
So good to have you back in the pod room. Wasn't the same without you. Number 1, how you doing? St. Joseph, Michigan, Columbus, Ohio, OH, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Zionsville, Indiana, Dallas, Texas, Bangkok, Thailand, San Diego, California, Yangchungu, South Korea, Fort Lee, New Jersey, and last but not least, Seward, Nebraska. Appreciate all the American Devils listening week in, week out. We could not do it without you. Ooh, international break. Ain't that fun, especially when United were riding high. Big game. Next Sunday, sir, we will be breaking down with a preview early next week.
Shout out South Korea. Get some more cities up there for my boy.
Appreciate
to pronounce here on this pronounce on the podcast. Pronounce. Let's go. We got one song only. Get the Glazers out.
Answer me this. Why is it any season we finish within the top 4, the manager then ends up sacked, and there's no investment
I
being
don't
put
see
into
your
the
name
club?
enough around the motherfucking city, man. Like,
It's like there's no forward thinking within the management and the owners that own our club. It's like you're just happy taking that Champions League money and spending it. So it's Glazers out.